And this is Edgar, playing the guitar.
Wow, you're really good. How'd you get so great at the guitar?
Right? I don't know, maybe it's superpowers or something. But I'm playing and talking to you at the same time.
Actually, it's not superpowers. It's actually your motor system that allows you to make movements to play each note. Your cerebrum processing auditory cues, which allows you to listen to the sound you're creating and adjust it accordingly. Also, your cerebrum processing sensory information from your fingers, hands, and arms and send and receive information from your brain to understand what you're doing. And of course, you process the information needed when you're reading music.
Wow, sounds cooler than my music. Can you please tell me more?
Alright, let's get into the basics. This is your brain. The brain is a really complex organ within our body and can be divided up into 3 basic units: the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Let's take a deeper look into Edgar's forebrain.
But what does my forebrain do?
Well, your forebrain is responsible for processing cognitive, auditory, sensory, and visual information. However, this is only possible because of the parts within it. Have you ever heard of the word cerebrum?
Cerebrum, what's that?
Your cerebrum is the largest part of the brain within the forebrain. It controls things such as movement, sensory processing, language communication, learning, and memory.
Sounds really important.
Indeed it is. In fact, it controls most of the brain's functions. With that being said, the cerebrum can further be broken down into a right and left hemisphere.
A right and left hemisphere? I have a question.
Yes?
If we switch the right sides of our brains, would we become half of each other?
No, that would not happen. However, what's quite interesting is that your right side of the brain controls the left side of your body's muscles, and the left side of your brain controls the right side of the body's muscles.
That's lame.
Anyways, the cerebrum also consists of 4 different lobes. This is where most of the everyday functions occur within the brain, such as playing the guitar. The frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. Your frontal lobe is responsible for problem solving, thinking, planning, and organizing. Your parietal lobe is responsible for sensory processes, attention, and language. This is specifically where your brain processes your finger movements as you strum and play chords. Next up is the temporal lobe. The temporal lobe processes visual information, including shapes and colors.
So the temporal lobe is a part of my brain that's responsible for my music reading?
Yes, it is. And the occipital lobe is where your brain listens to the music you're playing, as it's responsible for processing auditory information.
This is so interesting.
Aha, I see you show excitement and emotion. This leads on to our next topic, still within the forebrain. You see, our emotions and memories are constructed within something called the limbic system. The limbic system is composed of the hypothalamus, thalamus, amygdala, and the hippocampus. All these parts work together to help you remember and emotionally feel that very embarrassing accident you had in the 5th grade.
Oh.
A lot, but we haven't even touched the rest of the 3 major parts of the brain. Now it's time for the midbrain. Of the 3 major parts, the midbrain is the smallest. However, it plays a large role within our lives. You see, within the midbrain is something called the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized organ that releases and regulates hormones within our body. So yes, this gland is why we go through puberty, as it releases certain hormones that stimulate certain characteristics related to puberty, like your poor mustache growth.
Hey, I worked hard on growing this mustache.
Haha, well, looks like to me as though you have a lack in testosterone. Now on to the hindbrain. As the name suggests, this part of the brain lies in the very back of the brain, making it the lowest portion of the 3.
So is this the hindbrain?
Yes, but technically that's actually the brainstem.
Brainstem?
Yes, it's one of the 2 parts that make up the hindbrain. The other part is the cerebellum.
Cerebellum? Didn't you say that part is a part of the forebrain? You know, the brain part that can be divided up to the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobe?
That's the cerebrum. This right here is the cerebellum. Unlike the cerebellum is quite small in size. It controls our voluntary movements and thus helps keeps us balanced by coordinating our muscle movements. However, it wouldn't be able to send any signals to our muscles without the brainstem. The brainstem connects the brain to the spinal cord, which allows for neurotransmission, which we'll get into soon. The brainstem consists of the pons and medulla. If you may have noticed, you do not have to think about controlling your heart rate or adjusting your temperature. Your body does that for you. and all that occurs within your medulla. It controls involuntary movements. The pons is what's responsible for allowing the transmission of signals from the brain to the spine. Which again leads us on to our next topic, nervous system. Woohoo! Today we'll only be focusing on the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Let's first have a look into the central nervous system. The central nervous system works with the brain and spinal cord to integrate sensory information and have your body respond accordingly. When your body feels pain from, let's say, a knife wound, your central nervous system takes it as a threat from the outside world and tells your brain to fix it. Now, things like controlling blood pressure, heart and breathing rates, body temperature, digestion, metabolism, and production of body fluids are all functions from the autonomic nervous system. As the name implies, it serves as a system for your body to control automatic things.
You said something earlier about neurotransmission. Is that what makes the nervous system possible?
Yes, it is. It deals with nerves. Did you know the human brain consists of over 100 billion neurons? Neurons are specialized cells that are designed to transmit information. It consists of three main parts: the cell body, axons, and dendrites. The cell body determines what the neuron does. The axons are a long fiber that sends information from the cell body to other surrounding neurons. And the dendrites are branch-like extensions that receive information transmitted from axons. This specific process here is what's called neurotransmission. It's essentially the exchange of information between one cell and another.
It all makes sense now. The brain can be divided up into several various sections. However, the three major divisions of the brain are the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. These three things each have a certain role within our body and are composed each of even more parts of the brain. It's like we dig deeper and deeper down into each part. There are more and more parts hiding behind layers, which all work together specifically within your brain. However, for your brain to communicate with your body, things like the central nervous system and autonomic nervous system exist to allow neurotransmission, which is the actual process of your brain's neurons sending signals to your body.
Wow, that was essentially all it. I'm glad all you guys listened carefully. That's all for now. This has been Joshua teaching Edgar, student teaching student.